I read a very disturbing article in some Hollywood, insider kind of magazine where they were talking about actually putting Penelope Cruz and whoever the other guy was, not that she's the one that I would pay attention to, but, on a Hollywood blacklist. And I was so disturbed by this. Now, this is somebody that I really deeply disagree with, Penelope Cruz. I can't disagree with her any more than I can't think of anything else you could say. That she is standing up for Hamas. But I believe in more speech and not less. And those people who have the courage to speak their minds gives us the opportunity to question with boldness and find out what it is we really believe in. And by encouraging all people to speak freely, it does something else. It relieves the pressure that is being built up in this country. And it is a very bad thing when people are shouted down or silenced if they feel like they haven't been heard. They don't have to be agreed with. They have to actually be heard. When people feel like they're no longer heard, that's when uprisings happen. We must always be a people that holds high the ideal of speaking without fear. And if we don't hold that up, our Constitution really does become this dusty old document that doesn't hold any relevance anymore. We need to say what George Washington used to say, meet me on the battlefield of ideas. You take that from Washington, and then you take the line from Abraham Lincoln, meet me on the battlefield of ideas with malice toward none and charity for all. Penelope Cruz is flat wrong. Hamas has spelled out in their charter that Allah has promised them a time when even the rocks and the trees would cry out, hey, Muslim, there's a Jew hiding behind this tree or hiding behind me, a rock, kill him. That's in their charter. That means that what Hamas is doing is not about justice. It's not even about land. It is about a deeply rooted genocidal psychosis that we have to talk about and recognize openly. It's a delusion that we're living under. And what they are talking about is deeply rooted in this psychosis. And if we are not rooted in the facts, darkness again will spread over the whole world, and millions of Jews and Christians, atheists, anybody, doesn't matter, will be led to slaughter. That's what happens. Silence equals death. Let's not forget that. Silence equals death. I really feel that one of my jobs, not even a job, I feel like a guy who can see the good things if we just choose. If we just choose. I really feel like I just want to show you what we can be. I know you know it inside of you. I know that in deep down, maybe you're so angry, and I don't mean you as, I mean all of us. All, left, right, everybody. That we might have gotten so beaten down, we might have gotten so lost. I know I did for a while. I got lost in my anger. I got lost in what I felt was right. That we just start to put on blinders and we start going down this road, and it won't work. It won't work. We are better than who we are currently allowing ourselves to become. I would ask that you would join me, left, right, center. Just join me in this one thought. Can we not dedicate ourselves to be the men and women our grandparents were almost 80 years ago? But we have to go a step further. We have to be a little better than they were. But our grandparents loved the country. They loved each other. When we went into a Great Depression, they helped each other. They fed each other. But we have to understand that loyalty oaths, we have to understand that people will play on our fears. And I know that they've called me a fascist, they've called me McCarthy. I'm telling you now, and always have, don't listen to anybody who says it's a blacklist. Don't listen to anybody who tells you to hate people. Don't listen to anybody that holds up and says, hey, you know what? We should round these people up. These people are inferior somehow or another. We cannot be afraid of people who are different or have different ideologies. We must never silence them. It's a really high bar. I mean, because if you remember, even our grandparents, in their silence, allowed our government to round up the Japanese, put them in concentration camps. That goes against all of our values. but it was silence. It was a law. It was fear, and what is in our interests, not what are our values. We need to do better. We need to remain willing to tolerate the speech that we despise. We need to not just tolerate it, we need to stand behind it if it is threatened. That's one of the lowest rungs on the ladder of justice. That's it. That people have a right to speak their mind. When it comes to Penelope Cruz, she's standing up for Hamas. That's flat wrong. But I will tell you this. The Palestinian people have been lied to. They have been used by their own leaders for decades. Not even Jordan has helped the Palestinians, because Jordan doesn't care about the Palestinians either. Jordan cares about the land. Why did they make a secret deal with with Israel in the 1960s? They said, we'll march, but we're only going to march this far. Just let us have this. And they were fine. And yet, even though they did that, they still do not let the Palestinians become Jordanians, even though most of them are all still living in camps. And they were born in those camps in Jordan. They've been born in Jordan since 1947, but doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The evil that you find in the Middle East is from the political system. Just the same as it was in Germany. We didn't hate the Germans. We did, however, call for the Nazis to be disbanded and obliterated. The ideology of National Socialism, we called it by its name, not Nazis, evil. And we have to do the same now. Hamas is evil, as are those who actively fight with them knowingly. Those who wish to live in peace, that are caught in the crossfire, we have to pray for. We actually have to aid. When this thing is over, just like we did with the Germans, we have to aid them and begin the long battle of healing hearts. That's going to be the hardest thing yet. Killing people is easy. Healing them is hard. Israel has a right to exist. It has a right to defend itself in the way it sees fit. It's their country. It's not ours. They're surrounded by millions of people who deny the Holocaust even happened. And then they go the extra step and say, they don't only say the Jewish state doesn't have a right to exist, but the Jewish people don't have a right to exist. I will continue to encourage Israel to fight as quickly and as surgically and as ethically as they possibly can, but I'm not going to play in the hands of those in Hamas who want us to believe that the Israelis hate the Palestinians. It's the same people trying to convince the world that we, as Americans, hated the Iraqi people. We don't have a problem with the Iraqi people. We don't have a problem with the Afghani people. The Jewish people have not had the right to defend themselves from those who have tried to round them up and kill them since the time of Rome. They've always lived as a guest in somebody else's country. They've always had to rely on the friendship, mercy, or protection of others. And 19 separate times, those so-called friends and fellow human beings turned the other way while they were rounded up and slaughtered en masse. Never again. That's what it means to me. Never again. That means never again. We have to call evil by its name and stand firmly by those who are at least trying to uphold the Western Judeo-Christian respect for life. We must humbly and fervently pray for peace, justice, reconciliation, all the while holding fast to those simple, eternal principles that have always made America the closest thing. It's not perfect, but it is still the closest thing to that shining city on the hill. But if we lose those principles, that light goes out. We cannot talk about interests. We cannot talk about our business interests. We have to talk about our values. Hollywood, I am with you on Israel. I am with you on where Hamas is. I stand firmly by the side of Penelope Cruz if you try to blacklist her for her point of view. I do not stand with her on her opinion. I stand with her firmly on her right to express it, because America is better than blacklists and loyalty oaths.